YouTube video. Today we are going to be learning how to make this, which is a guitar belt. I get a ton of compliments on this belt when I wear it, and I've been asked a few times by people, how did you make this thing? Where did that belt come from? Where did you buy it from? All those things. Well, I didn't buy it, kids. I made it. And I made it out of an old guitar strap, actually. An old guitar strap fell into my lap completely by accident, and I thought, that would make a super cool belt. And so I did it. So here it is in all of its guitar belt glory. So I'm going to take it off, and then I'm going to show you two to make it. All right, so here's what it looks like flat before I show you how to put it together. So this stuff all came on it originally, like this is the way it came to me. But the one that I have picked up does not have this stuff. I added that. So I'm going to show you how to put it together. Let's go. All right, everybody. So here we are, the belt, just like I showed you. So this tutorial is going to be a little bit more difficult than some of the other ones I've done. This is not one that's like super easy. It's also not one that I think everybody can do because you need some equipment. You need at least these things, in my opinion. A hammer, a set of snips, real sturdy snips. You need an anvil. I have two because I need two. Some rivets. Pieces of chain, a few pieces of chain. This is real chain from the hardware store. This isn't like shit fabric store chain. Got some D-rings here. D-rings. I've got 6, but you can do however many you want. I've got a couple of these little screw-on. I don't even know what these things are called. Got a heavy-duty clip, which I just dropped from a leather store. Got a pair of good scissors, a measuring tape, a pen. Oh, and of course the belt. So what I did is I just went to a secondhand music store where they sell like used musical instruments, and I found this belt, which is similar to the one that I have. You can see, I hope you can see. I don't know how much this is fitting in the frame, but that's okay. And we're going to take this apart. You can use whatever you want. The person that I'm making this for wanted one as close to mine as possible, so that's why I'm trying to recreate it, but you can use whatever kind of guitar strap appeals to you. If you don't want to add like D-rings and hardware and shit to it, you don't have to. It's all personal taste, but I'm going to try to replicate that one for the purposes of this video. So here we go. I also forgot a thing. You need some leather, some extra leather. So this is actually just a leg off a pair of leather pants that I made into some really sexy booty shorts for Brody, I might add. If you want to see him in those shorts, go watch my men's goth birthday outfit video, whatever. But this is a leg that I cut off. It's a fairly thick leather. You wouldn't want to do this with like a really thin leather. It wouldn't work that well. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure this against my belt, because I assumed that all guitar straps are the same length, because this is the first guitar strap that I have ever had access to. And when I bought this one, I found out that they are not. They are not the same length at all. So this is a comfortable length for me, and the person that I'm making this for is a very similar body size to me, just a little bit shorter. So I'm going to measure this up and see how much I need. Okay, so mine is that much. I don't know if you can see that. Mine is that much longer than this one, and that's the length I want. So I'm going to cut this off right there with my sturdy scissors to make it the same length. If you have leather scissors, so much the better. I want some, but I don't have any right now, so I'm just using an old pair of my sewing scissors that are capable of cutting really thick stuff. So this, we don't need anymore. This is going bye-bye. So I am going to measure out now with my beautiful purple measuring tape. I'm going to measure out how far apart these D-rings are and mark them, and then cut little strips of leather to go through them. So here we go. So you probably can't see this at all, but I've just gone along here and I've marked little spots. I measured and I marked where I'm going to put the D-rings. I thought they would all be even, like evenly spaced, but it turns out they are not. So I don't know. So I've done that. So now I know where my D-rings are going to go. So now I'm going to take my leather and I'm going to cut little strips that go in between the D-rings. So I'm going to measure how wide these D-rings are. So it turns out they are exactly 1 inch. These are 1 inch D-rings across the bottom. So I'm going to cut little 1 inch wide leather strips that are going to go through like that, and I'm going to rivet them down to the guitar strap. So here they are. I lied. I said I was going to cut them 1 inch wide. I actually cut these 2 inches wide because I want to put seams in them because I am a seamstress and not putting seams in shit makes me really uncomfortable. And I like to make everything extra heavy duty. So I'm just going to fold these over and put seams in them to make them a lot heavier gauge. And I'll be right back. So here we are at my sewing machine. I'm not even going to use the industrial. I think my regular machine can handle this even though it's thick ass leather. So you do need a fairly heavy duty sewing machine to be able to handle this kind of leather. If you don't have one, you're welcome to leave raw edges on the leather. It's not going to fray or anything. It just makes me feel weird, so I'm not doing it. So I'm just going to fold this in. It's very professional measuring here. And put seams in all of these. And then it should look like that when you're done. Now back to what I said I was going to do the first time. I'm going back over there. So we're back to this. So I now have these long strips of leather that should be 1 inch wide and should fit through my D-rings, hopefully. Which they do. Wow, it's almost like I know what I'm doing and shit. So I would think a comfortable amount to put a couple rivets in would be about that much. This is just me making shit up. I mean, you can do whatever you want. This is all personal taste. You don't even have to do this part if you don't want to. But I think it looks cool. Obviously, the more hardware you can add to shit, the cooler it looks, in my opinion. So that's what we're going to do. So I have 6 D-rings, so I need 6 of these little pieces. Which probably means I sewed way too much leather, but that's okay. Great. So yeah, I made way too many leather strips. That's okay. So I now have 6 little doodads like this. And I'm going to put them where we marked the D-rings, where we marked it out on the belt here. So I'm just going to go like this. Put the leather through the D-ring like that. So with your anvil, you need a hole punch, which I also didn't say, but I'm assuming if you have an anvil, you probably have a hole punch if you do any kind of leather work. So I'm just going to use my hole punch on the smallest setting, which is this one. I have one of these hole punch sets that comes with different tips. I'm using the smallest one because that's what is good for rivets. And you need some sort of something. You can use wood. I use thick armor gauge leather just to put on the anvil, so when you punch a hole, it doesn't go through and dull your hole punch when you hit the metal of the anvil. So I'm going to place this on the belt on my first mark here where I need it to be and do my first rivet. So I want it to sit about there. Untangle the hammer from the chain. Put a hole through. Did that go all the way through? Sure didn't. There we go. Ooh, brand new pack of rivets and everything. Okay, rivet through the leather, through the belt, all the way to the other side. These are double cap rivets. You can use the ones that don't have the cap on the other side, but I don't like them as much. Just press them together like that. Move your leather. Then hammer it. So you want to use the shortest rivets that you possibly can for what you're doing. If you don't have a rivet press, which I don't, because the longer the rivet is, like the more of the rivet that sticks out of the leather, the more chance you've got of skewing it, and then it just makes your life miserable and everything sucks. So just don't. Just use the shortest rivet you can manage. Put my D-ring back on. So I now have one complete. Let me show you what that looks like. So this is what it looks like, the first one. It's not exactly the same as mine. This is what mine looks like. But like, it's close, right? Close enough. So now I'm just going to do that on all the little marks that I've made. That is done. So it now looks like this. Have all the rivets on it, all the stuff. I think it looks really good. So the next thing I'm going to do is measure up the chain. So I have 2 different types of chain, actually. You can use whatever. There's no real length to the swag. You can use, if these are too heavy, like these are quite heavy, but I like my stuff to be really weighty. You can use chain from the fabric store, like purse chain, which is a lot lighter. You can do no chain, like whatever you want. But I like my stuff to have some weight, like I said. So I'm going to measure these against the chains on my belt and then cut them to the appropriate length with my snips. Okay, so it looks like I want to cut it off about here. So these are husky flat snips. I've tried to do this with aviation snips. It doesn't work nearly as well. And this takes a little bit of doing, you guys. It's too high up. I'm gonna go over here and do this. All right, you guys, I did it. Yay! I had to press it on a lower surface. Like up here, I don't have as much strength as I do pressing down here, obviously. Forgot another thing, pliers. If you're gonna use like real chain, if you're gonna use like costume chain or like fabric store chain, you can do this with like your hands basically. But if you're gonna use real chain, you need pliers to pull it open. Okay, we're gonna get rid of this part. So we are now at the length that I want it to be. So we're gonna attach it to the D-rings. So one end I'm just gonna put here, so I can just put it on the belt, that's easy. The other end, I've got some key rings here, which I thought would work, so I'm just gonna attach it to the key rings and then attach it to the D-rings. Key rings to D-rings, kids. Always remember. So we now have this. And this piece, luckily, is already the right length, so I don't have to cut it again. Yay! I've lost my other key ring. Nope, there it is. The long search is over. So now they both look like that. So I'm going to attach them to this belt. Same place mine are attached. So mine are attached at the first one down here to the fourth one, and then the first one to the last one. Okay. So we now have this, which looks totally awesome. I'm really excited about it. So now we have to put on the way to do it up. So I'm not gonna lie, mine was really easy because it already came like this. Like mine already came with all that hardware on it. All I had to do was cut pieces off and figure out how to do it up. This one, obviously, we needed to put the hardware on. But I mean, the cool thing about this project is you can literally do this however you want to your preference. If you don't like leather guitar straps, you could do it with a printed one. You could do it with like a carved one. You could do it with whatever, because I've started looking into guitar straps recently and I had no idea that there were like so many varieties. So it's really cool that we can you can customize it entirely to your preference, basically. Now this is important. This is the clasp I have. You have to make sure that the clasp that you have goes through this little hole, like is able to clip on here. It's big enough to go around that, basically, and shut itself. So this is essentially like a giant lobster clasp. I got this at a local leather supply store. So you probably, I mean, I know most people order stuff online a lot. I'm not one of those people. But I like to go to local stores and make sure that what I'm getting actually works for my project. Because too many times I've seen people come into my store and they're like, I bought this on the internet and it doesn't work the way that I thought it would. But if you can physically see it and touch it and understand that it's going to work the way you need it to, then that saves a lot of hassle, in my opinion. So these extra leather bits that I have from this, basically this is the same width. This is a 1-inch thing. So you just slide it through there to make like a tab like that. Now on mine, because my belt is longer, you see on mine, I looped it through here. But this belt is a little bit shorter. So I think what I'm gonna do is take this out entirely. I've changed my mind. I'm gonna take this out. Get rid of that. And I'm just gonna make sure that this tab is long enough to make it the same length as my original belt. So if I hold these up together, this is only that much shorter. So if I do it through the last hole, it should line up with mine. So on mine, I sewed it. I used my sewing machine. I sewed it down. I'm probably just going to rivet it on this one because I can. So I'm just going to slip this through the last hole like this. Make sure that that works. And again, armor gauge leather. This can get out of the way. Hole punch, hammer. So I'm just going to flip this around so that I can hole punch this together and line these two edges up. Rivet, hammer it down. And that's it. That's literally it. It's done. I might paint this black because that bugs me because I don't like it brown. I might paint that black just so that it's not like that obvious on it. But I mean, it's a pretty simple project. Like if you can do any kind of leather work, this took me an hour. I'm going to say an hour, like start to finish. And you can have this like really fucking awesome belt. And like I said, totally customizable, whatever you want, however you want to do it, personalize it. I absolutely love it. So I'm just going to put this on and model it for you guys, and then I guess we're done. All right, so here you have it, complete and on my body. It looks almost the same. It's a different finish. This one's a bit suedier. Mine's like the shinier leather, but like, right? It turned out pretty fucking cool. I totally love it. And it's like a real simple project, start to finish, 1 hour. You too can do this. So there you have it, the end of the video. Guitar belt, that's a thing, guitar belt tutorial. I hope you could follow it. I hope it was easy to understand. When I made mine, that was the first one I ever did. Like I said, it just fell into my lap. So this is the first one that I've ever like recreated for somebody. But I love that this could be all over the map. Any kind of guitar strap, hardware, no hardware, whatever. You basically, this is the important part, the clasp. Like once you've done that, you can do whatever the fuck you want to the rest of the belt. That's the great thing about it. So if you make one of these, I would absolutely love it if you would tag me in a photo of it. That would be amazing. And if you liked this video, if you could give it a thumbs up, that would be awesome. If you want to subscribe to my channel, that would be even more awesome. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm under Madame_Absinthe on Instagram, where I post outfit pictures. I don't think I'm posting this one, but you never know. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I put in progress, work in progress if I'm working on something like this. Also pictures of my makeup occasionally and random stuff that happens to me. So if you want to know more about like my life, that's on Twitter. If you want to ring the bell, you can get notifications for when I put up new videos, maybe tutorials, maybe vlogs, maybe cooking. Who knows? You should ring the bell. You should definitely ring the bell. You won't regret it. What else? I think that's it. Like, subscribe, follow me on social media, ring the bell, and hopefully I will see you around for my next sewing tutorial. Magic spin and star wipe, and we're out.